All right, let's do it right into it. Morning, everyone. Morning, afternoon. Happy Friday to you. Happy Faith Based Friday to you all. Let's get this thing shared out and get right into it. Like Facebook, and let me share it. And all right, good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time of day, whenever you're consuming this. Hope you're just having a awesome experience. You have to be having an awesome experience because you are able to listen to this and you're able to consume this in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So again, the experience is awesome. It is something you should be happy about. All right. So as usual, we are going to be doing Faith-Based Friday today. Let me actually just put it up on the screen real quick. And the interesting thing about this Faith-Based Friday is last Sunday was Mother's Day, right? So I didn't go to the normal church. I normally go to Life Church out in Wellington, but my girl goes to a church named Church by the Glades, and she and I decided to go to church together. Finally, actually go to church together this Sunday. So I didn't go to the normal church that I normally go to. And the sermon that we're going to go over, I didn't get a chance. I didn't listen to it live. I actually just listened to it this morning because I wasn't really going to be, I didn't really want to take in two sermons today. To me, two sermons. There's some people that do that, by the way. But for me, a Sunday, like, mentally I do so much self-development work that mentally I don't think I can take two great sermons or two sermons in a day. So I was like, you know what, let me not listen to it until it's time for Faith-Based Friday. So I listened to Pastor Craig Groeschel's message this morning and it was absolutely on point. Also, while I'm on the subject, Church by the Glades, by the way, they did an incredible job. I plan on being back for sure. That was an awesome experience as well. I mean, this whole concept, and even one of the reasons I actually started Faith-Based Friday is this whole concept of going to church and being someone that is developing a relationship with God has been so modernized. It was never something that my parents pushed on me. I tell the story. In fact, when I first started these, it was never something that my mother and father would, force my sister and I to go to church or anything like that. I had actually ended up going to a Catholic school. So this concept of religion got really fuzzy to me when it came to developing a walk of faith. So, this idea of going, and I've been to VOUS Church now I've gone to Church by the Glades, as I'm a rabbi. I regularly pay my tithes with our Life Church. This concept of being able to modernize it, show up however you are. You have the pastor up there. He's not, in a suit and tie or anything like that or in a robe. They're out there just talking and relaying the message to a younger crowd. I've just fallen in love with that concept, and I've fallen in love with that element to it. In fact, just last week, Life Church had a family dinner on Tuesday, and they were questions asked. They do these family dinners just to generate some interest and gauge the interest of the people and how they're liking it. And he was telling the people, like Pastor Joe was telling the people, hey, we do this for the person that doesn't have a relationship, like knows nothing about God and is never wanting to be forced to do anything that they don't know about. And that's the beautiful part about the churches that I've been attracted to since I've gone to South Florida, since I've moved out here to Florida, which is very, very important, especially if you're talking about relocating and coming to a new area and really, having to adult for real. Adulting is a real thing, something I'm experiencing as we speak. So we're going to get into Pastor Craig Groeschel's message in a second. Let me just get through some of, well, first of all, I forget to do this from time to time, which I do need to do a better job of. Let me just introduce myself to anybody that's a newcomer. That's a newcomer to my world. First and foremost, my name, Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I create a whole brand, a whole business called Move Swiftly that is all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with business owners and businesses so they can develop a group of employees or develop a staff that moves as efficiently and as eagerly and has that same passion that a championship youth or high school football team has. We want to correlate, we want to translate those skills. So that's what we do over here throughout the week. Monday through Friday, I'll come on here and speak. Sundays, I'm doing a Stay Hired Sunday with my good friend Kimberly Blue. Saturdays, we do a film session Saturday where we break down college football. And in fact, coming soon, I'm going to be adding a little spice to it. I don't want to make any crazy announcement, but I had a conversation yesterday where we're going to be adding some spice, some flavor to that film session Saturday. Just know something great is coming this summer. So I'm pretty much on here, 7 days out of the week, talking, explaining, breaking down concepts because, listen, the people that I serve, the ideal clients for me, they don't stop working, staying employed, staying hired, business owners, they don't stop. It's a 24-hour day, 365 day job. All right. You have to keep on growing, keep on building. So if I'm expecting that from my clients, I need to be putting out and producing the same thing. That is the mentality. You never ask anybody to do anything that you're not willing to do yourself. Say it for the people in the back. It is Faith-Based Friday. It's Faith-Based Friday, folks. Okay. It's Faith-Based Friday. I'm saying it for the people in the back so they can bring it. You never ask anybody to do anything that you're not willing to do yourself. All right. You never expect something from somebody else that you're not putting out there yourself. You can't be challenging folks and telling folks what they need to be doing and how they need to be doing. They're expecting them to pay you a damn cent if you're not willing to put out the information your damn self. Okay. All right. There's a lot of you folks out there, a lot of you entrepreneurs, as Mark Cuban would say, well, these wannabe leaders out there that put a lot of shit out. I'm not, again, Faith-Based Friday. I'm working. I'm not going to be, on here swearing, but put a lot of stuff out there and they don't do it themselves. They don't put in the work themselves. All right. So forgive me if I'm a little rowdy. I'm a little rowdy, but the conversation I'm already on thinking about what I'm going to be talking about next week and the week after. And this whole conversation about Black fatigue and what Black fatigue is all about. It kind of has me a little fired up. All right. So we'll be breaking down some of those concepts later on. It's another conversation for another day. As far as today, let me just get through a few announcements here. And then we'll get right into Pastor Craig Groeschel's message, which was he's still in his series, actually, about marriage, and still in his series. He has 3 months, a 6-week series. And this is the 3rd week in which he talked about having a positive marriage, or having a marriage that is godly and putting God first in your marriage first, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get into that. Let me get through these announcements and then we'll go from there. So first and foremost, again, business owners, this is who I'm here to serve you. Business owners, I am here to serve you. If you have not yet, be sure to go to Free Guide. This is completely free for you to do, which means there's no excuse for you not doing this. All right. It's freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. It will take you maybe 15 seconds, if that long, to simply put in your name, email, and phone number, whatever best way to contact you, and you will be sent over a quick guide on how to develop a 10-step. It's basically a 10-step process on how you can be utilize some things right now to make it so your staff is way more engaged. These are the 3 categories in which we really work in over here, in which we really teach. It's, first of all, establishing measurables. Next thing is creating a professional distance. All right, this is important. Creating a professional distance, and also using those 2 things to create a productive environment in your workplace. All right, that's what the championship high school football teams or championship teams in general. That's what they have that you don't have as a business owner. All right. They have measurables. They want to win games. They have guys, look, this is where we're trying to be at this time of year. It's how we want to know our plays. There's establishing measurables and expectations and implementation of what the goal is throughout the day. And then there's a professional distance between a coach and a player. There is, all right? There is. I'm talking about the championship teams. There's a professional distance. It doesn't mean that the coach won't joke and have fun with you and play around and all that kind of stuff, but there's a professional distance because the coach knows, hey, I got to deal with parents. I got to make sure the kids are getting better. I got to make sure I'm setting the example so I don't get to be their friend. And that leads, you just take it just like a math problem. Establishing measurables, having a professional distance that equals the productive environment that you don't have in your business. All right. So I'm going to teach you how to create that. I'm going to teach you how to do these things. All right. So it's freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. And if you are just simply interested in getting to know me, or you want to shop, you want to ask me, you want to do more research, again, if you're going to be investing this kind of money, you need to be doing way more research. You need to be researching the people that you bring in to speak to your staff. All right. You can just simply go to makeyourmove.com. That is makeyourmove.com. You can join the Patreon. You can book me to just come speak, or you can simply learn more about Aswan Cruikshank. All right. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot on the internet about me that you can do your research on, and you can do what it is you have to do. So all that being said, let's get into Mr. Pastor Craig Groeschel, who just absolutely brings it. He brings it. If you really listen to the message, I mean, there's so much I pick up and I learn. I just sit back, man. Listen, I just sit back and I learn. I'm like, okay, I love the way he gauges the crowd, brings a person in and does this. So he was discussing the title of the sermon was all about the overcoming mistakes and understanding that being perfect is not something that you should be expecting, but understanding that mistakes happen. When things come up, you have got to make sure you're putting your focus on God, on faith. I mean, he used the words faith so many times in this sermon. And again, every time I do these, I want to make sure I'm mentioning to you guys, I strongly recommend you go listen to the whole thing on your own. Go listen to everything that you have to say on your own, because it's that powerful of a message. And I usually like to keep these around 30 minutes. But the faith in having, or whether it's someone you want to get with romantically or someone that you want to get with from a business perspective, all right? The understanding of faith and working with a person to know that, hey, when you're going through the difficult times, something great is on the other side of it. That takes a relationship with God first. That takes a relationship with God and God only, to the point where you are two people who are focusing your mindset and focusing on where it is you want to be in the future, on the things that God has blessed you with. And if you get two people that are focusing on that, then whatever personal issues you may have with an individual during a specific time, those just simply fade away. They simply fade away because the relationship with God becomes the only thing that matters. And that's what you got to take away from the message there. All right. So I'll let him go. And then as usual, we'll kind of go through the message as he talks.
Thing is, before you're married, a lot of people have big dreams about marriage. Like they envision candlelit dinners, Pinterest-worthy homes, well-behaved kids, vacations with sunset and matching outfits. And then you get married. And suddenly it's like, let's just make it through the week. Who knows what I'm talking about? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Type online. I know what you're talking about. Pastor, I know what you're talking about. Let's just try to pay the bills, keep the kids alive, preferably out of jail. And so many people, they've got big hopes, and then one day they collide with unmet expectations.
Right.
And sometimes the relationship that you envisioned and dreamed about and hoped for feels way out of reach. Abram and Sarai, later known as Abraham and Sarah, they knew that feeling. They were just like normal people because they were normal people. They had dreams. And then came the waiting and the waiting and the waiting and the disappointment and the times where it felt like God had completely forgotten them. And they faced problems just like the rest of us. And I hate to say this, it's kind of embarrassing, but it actually brings me comfort to see them go through some of the same things that all of us go through. I mean, they battled with infertility. They had very real anxiety about the future. They had family drama. Anybody have family drama? Do not raise your hand. Do not elbow the person sitting next to you. Just look forward and act like you don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so I want to just address something really, really quick, and I hate to cut him off, but I have to. I have to make sure that point drives home. When he sort of subtly mentioned that he was embarrassed or felt bad about saying that it gave him comfort to know that somebody else is going through something else. It's important for me to acknowledge that, because not anybody is perfect. And this is why I paused him here, because every single person, including the person you're looking at or you're listening to right now, has a lot of family drama, has a lot of things that have happened in their past that if they met someone, they might be a little ashamed or embarrassed about what they would say. But if you are not willing to share these things with individual in a prospect or a suitor or whatever it is, then you aren't doing the faith-based work that you need to be doing. You're not doing the work that is going to make it so you can be healed. All right. If you're constantly sending the representative, sending this perfect image. And this is why I love the fact that he opened up with what people think about when it comes to marriage are these candlelit dinners, on the beach and the sun's going down and wearing matching outfits and everybody's got the I said yes or she said yes post, or everyone's looking for some sort of validation on social media, which is not a new thing. It just happens to be the way social media is set up now. But everybody is looking at it from a place where I need to validate what I'm about. I need to validate myself. And it's the same conversations we've been having all week in terms of, when somebody goes and says, oh, I only want to make $85,000 a year, you're just taking a number and you're trying to validate yourself based on a number that's going to work for you. Same thing in relationships. You just are picking someone that you decide you're going to pick because they now validate you as an individual, versus you and this person actually talking about things that bother you, things that you have yet to heal from. I mean, there's shit. Listen, one swear word, but there are things that I still to this day, and I could bring my girl on right now. She doesn't do, much talking on camera. She's not the public speaking type like me, but I could tell you from experience, there's still things in my heart of hearts that I have yet to figure out how to heal from, how to do it. But I trust her with the information because I know at this point I have spoken to God in so many ways about how to use me. What is it? Why is this happening? What is this that's going on? What are the things that I am doing wrong? And I've gotten those answers based on a relationship I've had with God, to where I'm open enough to share these things and allow people in to say, hey, that's a difficult situation. I understand that. Let's work through it. That's the way it actually works. And again, I'm saying this not just because of a romantic relationship per se. I'm saying this, that this is just how you have to be. The best businesses, the best YouTubers, the best thought leaders, the best people, especially again, like myself, what I just got 10 minutes telling you guys about, like myself, if I'm going to be going and speaking to these employees about staying hired and how they can add value to their job, I have to work on being more authentic myself. That ain't got nothing to do with no romance. That ain't got nothing to do with no lovey-dovey feelings, any bullshit, bull stuff like that, right? It is all about, have you developed a walk of faith, and are you open enough? Are you open enough to have the conversation with God and with yourself, and then meet people and say, hey, these are the things I'm struggling with. These are the things that are rough on me. These are the things that I have yet to figure out a way to get through as an individual. And hey, if I'm honest about it, maybe you and I can get through it together. Maybe you and I could work together to help get through it so we can raise a strong family. That needs to be the mentality. And that's you. That's on you. And people will see it when they meet you. if you're doing the work. All right. They will see it. They will meet you. When they meet you, they will see it on you. They will smell it on you and see if you're doing the work. If you're not doing the work, it's going to come out the second you open your mouth. The second you open your mouth, one of the real ones will know, okay, that mofo ain't really putting in that work like that. They're just talking. So, all right, before I didn't correct you on that.
Had miscommunication issues and lots of waiting and drama and probably fights over the thermostat. Who knows? And so if you've kind of had big hopes for a relationship and now you're living with bigger disappointments, this message will speak directly to you, because what God did in their love story, God can do in yours as well. The title of today's message is When Love Feels Like a Letdown. So God, we pray that all of our relationships, our friendships.
Right, so let's go through. Let's go. So now he's going to talk about what exactly he means about when it comes to a relationship led by God. I want to make sure that point hammers home. A relationship led by God. You have got to hear me on this, folks. Excuse me. You have got to hear me. Hear me loud and clear. The relationship needs to be led. It needs to be moving by God. God has got to have the final say in the relationship. All right. This is really, 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 really crucial for you to understand. All right. Human beings, we're weak. We are not going to make the right decision every single time. All right. We will succumb to the ways of the world. Our flesh is weak. All right. When we meet someone, and especially the physical attraction, mental, if all three phases, whether it's physical, whether it's personal, and whether it is professional, if it's all, especially like myself, it's all three phases, right? Yes, there can be some mistakes that are made. This is why the leading with God has to lead these things in order for you as a human to say, hey, I know I'm a mess up, and expect the mistakes to happen. Expect these things to happen so you can get through it. That's how winning is done. That's how you actually establish something real. All right. When you expect these things to happen and you know they're happening and you're up and saying, let's do it. Let's do it. Because that's life, man. That's life. That's how it works. So I'll let him cook because I'm preaching a lot this morning. I couldn't wait to get to the message. Wait, hold on. Let's go.
If you want a relationship blessed by God, it has to be a relationship led by God.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on. By God, we're seeking God. We're asking for His direction.
Yes.
And then we're doing what we believe He calls us to do. Now, if you're anything like me, you want more details. God says, go, and you're like, where and when, and how far, and what's it going to be like, and are you going to be with me, and do we have any kind of guarantees? Tell me the plan, God. I just want to know the plan.
Right.
And God often doesn't give you the whole plan, because if He gave you the details, you wouldn't go. Because if you knew everything there, you would be too afraid, and you don't realize that He's going to be with you every single step of the way. So I want to tell you right now, if God is prompting you, leading you to do something, you don't need the faith to understand the whole plan. You just need to take the next step.
Come on.
You need the faith to take the next step. And so God told them to go. No details. And so this married couple says, okay, if the Lord God is calling us to go, we believe He's calling us to go. It is a big ask, but we trust God. And so we're going to trust God even when the future, that we're trusting Him together, even when the future is unclear. God told them to go. In my case, God told me to stay. And I'll tell you a story. I don't know if I've ever told this before. It's one of the most intimate stories with Amy. I met Amy my senior year of college in 1990. This is our Top Gun wannabe photo. There's a motorcycle somewhere, I promise. And I was graduating my senior year. She was a sophomore at a different school. I heard about her because somebody said, she's weird like you. She's overboard for God. You're both weird. You deserve each other. And I met her. We went out. And 1 month after we met, I graduated. and I had 2 job offers. One was in Houston. I was a business major who felt called to ministry, but nobody was hiring business majors. And so I had a job offer in Houston with Southwestern Bell in this experimentary fast track management program that was actually a really, really big deal. And then the other one was kind of like a door-to-door sales guy here that I was a little bit embarrassed by, but it was here. And so big job in Houston, fast track management with a big company back when that mattered to me. And then like door-to-door embarrassing. And so 1 month, and I'm praying with Amy, like, what do we do, God? Lead us like God. I think I like this girl and she smells good and she loves you. But big job and all this kind of stuff. And everybody said, go to Houston. The people in the door-to-door job here, they said, you should take that job. Don't be dumb. Everybody said it. And 1 month after meeting her, we just felt like I was supposed to take the job and stay here. And the Life Church is a very direct result and would not be based here today doing what it is today had I not taken that step of faith. It's just, I don't understand, God. It doesn't make any sense, God. That doesn't make any sense rationally at all. I just met the girl. That's kind of crazy, but we're just doing what God led us to do. And almost every special part of our life came on the other side of a faith step, doing what we believed God was calling us to do without knowing the details.
Yep.
Amy quitting her job teaching to be a stay-at-home mom and homeschool our kids back when we didn't even know what homeschooling was. Literally, we just felt called to do it. And then going from 2 kids to 3 and thinking we were done at 2. And then God leading us to 4 and then 5 and then 6. God, we're just doing what you led us to do. And then leaving the church that I love, First United Methodist Church, where my pastor helped call me into ministry, and starting Life Church made no sense whatsoever with nothing and nobody. And we're just doing what God called us to do. And 10 years ago, Amy coming in and saying, even though we have a very full life, I feel called to more, and starting a ministry called Branch 15. We're just praying, and God, you just lead us to the next step, and we're just doing what we believe you called us to do. And so I would just ask you.
All right, we'll close out there because there's so much there, and I'll kind of put it out there, kind of a disclaimer when it comes to that. When he's talking, the time he's talking about, obviously the internet wasn't as prevalent as it is today. The dating apps and the way we can communicate and build relationships online, Zooms and all that. Obviously, it probably wasn't a thing back then. So him taking that job as a door-to-door salesperson versus, going and being a fast track. Obviously, nowadays, the decision would be a lot different. There'll be certain factors when it comes to that decision, certain factors that are just different, but the message still remains. The concept still remains. The understanding still remains is when you are developing a walk of faith, you're not going to know the details. All right. You're not going to know how or when this person is going to come into your life. You're not even sure if the person's ever going to come into your life. You just simply have to walk by faith day in and day out, and you will not get any details. You won't get any details at all. You will just simply know, I got to take the next step. I got to go to the next phase. I mean, I resonated so much with the story he told, because when I first decided to move to Florida, it was just like, where? Why? You grew up in Maryland. Went to school in New York, never had much of a connection in Florida outside of, I knew I wanted to build a life around fitness, football, and it's going to be kind of funny, but fitness, football, and Hispanic. I have a thing for Hispanic women. But between fitness and football, from a professional lens, the people that really, really did know me and know the things that I was living through in my life, like my mother, who really saw me, try and do this and do that. There was an understanding that, hey, there's a faith. There's a step of faith he's stepping out on because of the things that he's very passionate about professionally and the things that he feels called to do as an entrepreneur, as someone who's passionate about these specific things. And then obviously when you have that intact first, you have to have that intact first. if you don't have that intact, you're not going to meet the right. Let's say you meet a person, but you won't meet the right person unless you have those things intact on your mental capacity. And this ain't got nothing to do with money necessarily. It has everything to do with how you maneuver, how you put money, or how you, if it does have anything to do with money, it's going to be more so about how you're putting money aside, how you're saving, what sacrifices are you making so you can save, because you know on this side of life, just like he's saying, the sacrifices I'm making now are going to lead to positive outcomes and positive results on the other side of life. What are you doing that is going to allow you to walk in faith? And it's just a step, folks. It is just a step. I want to make sure you're clear on that. It is simply a step you have to take, and you will not get the details. The only thing you can do is take your step. So all that being said, again, I implore you, I really, really strongly suggest that you go and listen to the whole thing, because he absolutely brings it, as he does every week. As we do every week, Faith-Based Friday. We'll be back here next week with a different message. But again, I'm on pretty much every single day. There's going to be a new video every single day. So make sure you tap in with me, especially you business owners out there. If you are interested in an employee development workshop, be sure to contact me. Make sure you like, comment, share this video with anybody that needs to hear it. Everyone out there, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.